This whole time I thought I was scared of an open mic, but the open mic was just a separate thing. The open mic is just something that makes me feel a way, afraid to feel. And I think reframing feelings in this way is powerful. Reframing fear in this way is really powerful. I don't want to be someone who is afraid of feeling something. That doesn't sound like a valid reason not to do. That's what's behind almost everything. When someone says they don't want to do something, it's almost always because of that. Because they don't want to feel the thing that doing whatever is going to make them feel.
Welcome to the Willpower Podcast. All right, let's get right into it. I have basically no plan for how this one's going to go, but hit and record and we shall see what happens. I am recording this because I am going to be going out of town for a couple of weeks and I don't have any podcasts scheduled. I have like 3 scheduled the week I get back. That's going to be the week of December 1st, December 2nd. But before that, I got nothing. And so this is going to come out right around that time. So as you're hearing this, I'm probably recording already, but obviously I can't post what I haven't recorded yet. So I'm getting this one ready to go. At this point, as I'm recording, I have surpassed my training peak for the ultra. That basically involved going up from the first week was maybe 30 or 40 miles total. And then it peaked at 100 miles in a week. That was 2 weeks ago. I finished that week. And then since then, I'm coming back down. So I'm around, like today I had to run 16 miles. That was my long run. My longest run of the whole training plan was 33 miles. That was 2 weeks ago today. So 16 miles today is nothing. It's like a chill run. And it's funny because last week I ran 80 miles and that felt like taking it easy. And that's just because like the week before again was 100 and it was like the continuous ramping up where every week I expected that I'm going to run a little bit more today than I did on this day last week. And then when it flipped and I was running like less than last week, it felt like I was not running that much, even though I was running 80 miles that week, which is more than I could have conceived of running, 2 years ago. The thought of running 80 miles in a week. I used to run 20 miles in a week and I thought that was like a lot of running for that week. So the entire perspective changes when you do a running plan like that. And now I'm out of that. I'm out of the crazy volume. This week is 40 or 50 miles. And then next week is even less, maybe 20, 25. And then the week after that is like barely anything. And then that brings me up to race week, which is 0 running except for the day of the race. Well, the day that the race starts and then potentially the day after as well. But the interesting thing about running, which I noticed this early on, and it's funny because this will make sense, but early on I was doing like 50-mile weeks, maybe the 3rd or 4th week of training. And I realized that it didn't feel like an insanely hard thing to do, running 50-mile weeks, but it was significantly more objectively than I had been running the month prior. The month prior to that, I ran 50 miles in a month. I made that my goal because I wasn't running a lot. And I was like, I'm just going to set like 50 miles this month minimum. And that actually took conscious effort to complete. Like I had to make sure I did it. And in the last week, I had way more running than the weeks leading up because I had kind of been putting it off. And then here I am running 50 miles in a week. And it's like, it doesn't feel like it's any harder than that. And my realization there was the hardest thing in my life is the hardest thing in my life. So whatever you're doing, if you don't challenge yourself, if I'm like being lazy and not doing anything difficult the entire week, then something is still going to be the hardest thing. Even if there's nothing that I'm like pushing myself to do, there's still going to be something that's hard. my scale, my relative scale of hardness. And so I think it's just interesting to realize that. And then, that was when I was at 50 miles. Again, I said I got up to 100 miles. The 100-mile week took more energy because I was running 100 miles. That's going to be taxing, and it takes more planning, but it's not like it's still just the hardest thing I'm doing right now. The hardest thing of my week is running 100 miles total. It's not like a phase shift difference from running 50 miles. And so if you're doing nothing difficult, it's not like your life is going to be like better. I think that's my biggest takeaway. So if your life is going to be the same amount of challenging because you still have the most challenging thing that's kind of defining things, like pick something cool, do something interesting, do something that's like difficult, but it's difficult in, the direction of something worthwhile. Don't just I don't think there's any point in suffering for the point of suffering. But again, if we're going to pick things, if it has to be difficult, why not make it something that actually results in something cool? 100 miles, like running a 100-mile race, for most people, they're like, I don't even want to have completed that. I don't care at all. For me, I'm like, that's cool as fuck. Like 100 miles, it's insane. And just the thought of like doing something that seems almost impossible is like, that's worthwhile. That's worthwhile in itself. But now, anyways, I'm at the point where I'm not running 100 miles, and now I can actually like add in other stuff. Because when I was running 100 miles or making my way up to 100, it felt like working out wasn't really an option. Like I can't like lift while I'm doing that much running because my body's not used to the running in the first place. Like it feels like it's breaking down. Like every Sunday, it would feel like my knees were like weaker, like the bones were like ground down a bit because of like the previous day where I ran 30 miles. And yeah, that was enough to dissuade me from like any serious lifting or anything outside of that, because my thought process was just, I need to like focus all of my body's recovery resources on like healing my legs. My legs are like taking a lot of damage and they need help. And so now, and then also the other thing is I would just eat like crazy, because you can just eat whatever. I would eat, whatever it took to get enough food. And I didn't have to think about what I was eating because I knew, okay, I'm burning probably like, 150,000. No, sorry, 15,000. I'm burning 15,000 calories extra every week. Like that's, I can eat a little extra. Like what I'm eating is not going to make a difference. I'm not going to like pass that. I'm not going to be in a surplus. Now I can't keep eating like that. And I have been, but if I keep eating like that, obviously I'm going to hold on to a lot of weight. And that's not the goal, especially with the race coming up, because like having every extra pound that I weigh is an extra pound that I have to carry for 100 miles. And that's no small task. Like that's significant. You can imagine if I lost, let's say 15 pounds, that's a lot, but I feel like if I was 15 pounds lighter, I would probably I would be in better running. Like I would look more like a distance runner. If I was 15 pounds lighter, that's basically almost 10% less. So think of it that way. It's 10% easier. 10% less weight that has to move from mile 0 to mile 100. And like every pound along the way helps. So if I can make it 1% easier, that's worthwhile. So that run is coming up in a couple weeks. When I post this, it'll be basically the week of, I think. I'll probably do another solo episode after that, just to reflect on whatever the fuck happens. If I finish, if I don't, I think I'll finish. My mindset going into this is the training itself was such a commitment and such a it has been a cornerstone of my life for the past 5 months, to the point that going into this race, I feel like I'm at like mile 1200. And the 100 miles is just the finale of the training. So I'm not thinking of it as like, oh, I have to go run 100 miles, like 0 to 100. It's like, oh no, I have to go run from 1200 to 1300. This is just the end of my training plan. And I've hit every single training run on the nose, every single mile, to the point where I'm not like, the idea of, okay, I'm over 90% of the way there and now I'm gonna quit. Like it doesn't make sense to me. I also know myself, and I know that if I don't make it, I will probably have to do this again, and I'll have to do the entire training plan all over again. And that's not something I really want to do. We'll see. Maybe I will want to run another 100 miles, but I want to do it on my own volition. I don't want to do it because I failed the first time. So it's like if I have the feeling in the future that I have like, oh, I should do this again, then sure, I'll do it. But not because I have to, not compulsively. Like this one's compulsive. This is like, I have to get this done. The future, I would rather have the choice. So that's my ultra coming up. Yeah, that's a big boy run. Yeah, so other big things going on. At the time of recording, I just hit my first paid subscriber on Grooves on my app. This was someone random, came into the app from I don't know where, and they signed up for a trial, and then I was just waiting. It was like 7 days, and then they hit and went through. Because I've had I've had over 5 trials, I think, before that just canceled. And so part of me was expecting that. And then, yeah, I had one go through, $5. And I end up getting less than 4 because of Apple's fees. But that honestly meant the world to me, having something real come out of an idea that someone was willing to pay for it. That's big. And it's also just a proving point that, okay, I can get a random person to use this app, see some kind of value in it, and sign up. So we'll see where it keeps going. It's been 1, and there are not a lot of signups in terms of trials in the past week. So yeah, I'm looking at how to get more people down the pipeline and modify things. I have ads running. I have social media stuff going on, and yeah, it's all a process and all something that I am trying to tweak all the dials on and figure out how to get it right. And then also continue to focus on the product and making that as rock solid as possible. I think that's like the most important part, is having a super solid product, because I can hype it up all I want. And if it sucks, then no one's going to stick around. But at the same time, if I have something amazing and no one ever sees it, it doesn't go anywhere. So there's definitely a balance there of like how much time to spend in different areas of a brand new startup, and yeah, how to think about that kind of thing. So that has been the focus there. And that was huge to get that first $5 in the door. And yeah, next steps are just continuing to progress, continuing to tweak things, continuing to change how I'm getting people to see it, how I'm talking about it, figuring out how to show off the best aspects of it. And yeah, hopefully get some for anyone who's listening who doesn't know about the app, I guess I should explain it too. So Grooves is a new kind of habit tracker. As far as I know, there's nothing that exists quite like it. So what it does is it helps you come up with a habit plan based on your own kind of who you are, what works for you, your current habits, and what resonates best with you, what's worked for you in the past, what you're looking to focus on. It tries to take in as much of who you are into consideration. And then the app comes up with a personalized plan. And that's basically just a number of habits for you to pick up. And you, of course, get final pick. It'll give you 4 top ones. And then it'll give you 10 total options. And then beyond that, you can create all the habits you want. But it is going to give you 10 recommendations. And we also recommend that you pick around 3 to 4 to start. And these should be like relatively new habits. So don't pick stuff that you're already doing regularly that's like set in stone. that you have nailed down, because these are more experiments. And that's the whole point of grooves, is that you treat habits as experiments, and it's a learning process. So you pick your habit, and then you also pick a number of goal frequency. So like, this is how many times I want to do it every week. From there, you go into just the daily routine of using the app. So to get the most out of the app, use it every day. It's a quick check-in. You check in with how yesterday went. What habits did I do? What did I not do? And then you also follow up with a subjective quiz. It's pretty simple. It's 6 questions about how you're feeling right now, how your mood, your energy, your fulfillment, your stress, your body, and your mental clarity. This all might be a little bit updated by the time I put this out. We're trying to add a new way of measuring those things that involves more machine learning and picking up patterns from natural language. So you can imagine you just have a conversation with our app, and then it's able to kind of pick out, okay, this seems to be where your mood's at. This is where your fulfillment is. This is where your stress is, yada, yada, yada. Working on that part. So that is potentially going to be out. But at the moment I'm recording, we're still using the more standard quiz questions. So to continue with the daily flow, those are the 2 most important pieces. Just log your habits from yesterday, log your scores for today, log how you're doing. It's like a 2-minute process, probably not even 2 minutes. From there, you can just check out, okay, I did log for today, I'm good. Obviously, there's more that the app does for you, and it uses this data. So you're giving it data every day. Over time, I would say within a week, you'll start to get some insights fed back to you. With more time, you're going to get much higher quality insights. So the higher quality the data, the more data, the better that the app can work with you. And it's going to tell you things about your habits. It's going to say things like, this one impacts your energy. This one decreases your stress. And you're going to see what they actually do. And you're going to get an overall well-being score. You're going to get to see like, okay, today I'm like a 7.6 overall. Yesterday I was 7.4. So I'm kind of on the up and up. You're going to be able to look at trends over time. Okay, how has my overall well-being changed since last month when I started the app? Am I going up? Am I going down? Let's see. You'll be able to look at graphs that show like all of the impacts of all of your habits and all of your different scores. So all of those 6 that I listed, the fulfillment, mental clarity, stress, body, mood, fulfillment. Did I say fulfillment? Okay. Well, there are 6 of them. You'll get to see how they impact, how each habit impacts each one of those. So it could be like, this habit increases your, peace of mind. That was the one. Increases your peace of mind by +2. And it increases your fulfillment by +0.5. And it decreases your energy by -0.5. Whatever it is, you'll actually get to see exactly what each thing does. And then from there, you get to pick out, you do your habits. Our recommendation is like 2 months. You stick with it for 2 months, doing your habit for however many times per week. By the end of it, you are like, you have good data, and the app is able to say, okay, this one gives you like overall +0.8. That's pretty good. Let's keep that one in. This one gives you +0.1. We can probably throw that away unless you really enjoy doing it. Another one gives you +2, 2.08. Okay, that's like a game changer. That's like a big habit that you should really keep in there, because when you don't do it, your scores are significantly lower. And by the way, all of these are calculated on a next day basis. So it's calculating, well, there are a few things going on. It's figuring out how the habits you do are impacting you the next day. And then it's also figuring out how the addition of a habit over time, like on more of a weekly basis. So weeks that you do this habit, how does it impact you? And it also can come up with, here's how many times you should do it per week. So there could be a habit that, maybe running is a good example. For some people, running 7 days a week is actually worse than running 4 days a week, because it begins to take away from their energy, and they begin to have discomfort and whatever else. So it can also tell you this is the optimal number of times to do this habit on a weekly basis. All of this is by the way, facilitated by an AI. Grooves AI is what we call it. It's a chat assistant. And so anything you're confused about with the app, or if you just want to use a chat interface rather than like trying to putter around. Just ask it directly. Hey, how are my scores? How are things looking this week? What should I do today? Is there anything specific that's helping or hurting me today? It's going to be, telling you exactly what you need. So anyways, I guess that's my advertisement in the middle of the podcast. Check out the Gears app. And yeah, I hope you guys like it. You are welcome to, leave a comment if you do give it a try. And I'm happy to give out some free, if you want to try it, I'll give you 3 months of the Grooves Plus. So that's new. One other big thing is I did a stand-up comedy open mic, which I committed to like way back. This was, I had Benjamin Ritter on, Dr. Benjamin Ritter on the podcast. And this was probably like, I actually want to pull that up because this was like, it was a while ago. It feels like it was more than a year ago, though I don't think it was. I think it was definitely in January. But I have Benjamin Ritter on, and I'd already made this goal, but this was the first time I like said it out loud. And I tell him that I have a goal, which is to do an open mic this year, 2025. And this was 10 months ago. Willpower podcast number 32. This is like over half of the episodes ago. Yeah, so I committed to it then. Or that was the first time I put it publicly out there, publicly committed. I'd already told myself I would do it. Yeah, I did it. Did it finally. This was Wednesday. And I will tell you, I was very, very nervous. Like the entire day Wednesday, I was just considering the fact that, okay, later today, I'm going to go and talk in front of people and try and make them laugh. Like that was just on my mind. Like the physical, I could feel the sensation of anxiety the entire day. I don't know. I think anytime I had relief, I would be like, wow, this is nice. And then that would remind me like, oh, but this is still coming. So I would feel the relief and it would feel like I'm past that. And then it would be like, oh no, but that thing is still coming. So even though I'm not feeling anxiety right now, it's still coming. And then I would feel anxiety. So it was interesting. And I haven't been that nervous for something in a long time, at least not in that prolonged kind of sense where it's like a full day of those kind of nerves. And so it was kind of nice to get to just like face that, recognize like, yeah, I can put this off. I can avoid this, but like, there's clearly something here. The fact that I'm so nervous probably means something because nothing really bad is going to come from it. I think this is something I talked about with Andy Leonard on his The Fulfillment Project, which we just recorded. And that is that like rational fears are there for a reason. And sometimes you should listen to fears, but there are a lot of irrational fears that we have that don't really make sense. They're not based in reality or logic or anything. And this fear was one of those, or it's still, I shouldn't say it was, this fear still exists, but it's took a good shot at it on Wednesday. But irrational fears, I think should be faced. Yeah. Because again, they're there because you imagine something that isn't quite realistic or isn't true or is illogical. And when we fear those things, I think that the fear is only detracting. It's this thing that's behind you that's always there, always reminding you, hey, this is something you're not facing. And you're not facing, there's no good reason for you not to face this. The only reason I wasn't facing it was because I was scared of feeling what I was feeling yesterday, which was that anxiety. And so this whole time I thought I was scared of an open mic, but the open mic was just a separate thing. The open mic is just something that makes me feel a way, afraid to feel. And I think reframing feelings in this way is powerful. Reframing fear in this way is really powerful. Because I don't want to be someone who is afraid of feeling something. That doesn't sound like a valid reason not to do, oh, I don't want to do that because I don't want to feel what it's going to make me feel. And that's what's behind almost everything. When someone says they don't want to do something, it's almost always because of that. It's because they don't want to feel the thing that doing whatever is going to make them feel. But you just sound like a bitch. Like you sound like it's stupid. It's like, why are you afraid to feel something? They're just emotions. But that's, again, we are all living that. We're all being fueled by emotions. We're all being directed by emotions. And as soon as you recognize it, it changes things. And it doesn't necessarily make it easier, but it makes it more doable. It makes it more, a Like when I was nervous on Wednesday, super nervous, but I just realized, hey, I'm done. I'm like, it's time. It's time to face this. And I got there and I met a couple people there. And so I was sitting with them talking, and I was, not going to be up for a while. And I'm still like, fuck, can I just yes, I talked to these people, but I could still just walk out. I could just take off and nothing's going to happen to me. But again, it was like, it's time. It's time. I went through this whole, similar to the ultra. It's like I went through this whole day of being nervous about this thing, and now I'm going to leave. Like I almost made it. I almost made it through this confrontation of the feeling. And then I'm going to just give up and let the feeling win at the end. Not the feeling win, let the avoidance of the feeling win. Let the fear of the feeling win. It's the same idea as training for 1,200 miles, or running 1,200 miles in training and then quitting in the last 100 of the race. That's not really the hard part. It's not the hard, I've already gone through so much of this. I already confronted this feeling. Now it's just the time where I nail it and hit the landing. So I definitely wanted to take off multiple times. And then honestly, by the time I went up, I that was kind of gone. I just kind of was like, I'm just going to go and I'm just going to do this thing. And the experience itself was fun. It was really interesting because it was the guy I talked to, he was like, yeah, this is not a good open mic. This is probably going to suck for your first one. And so I was like, oh, shoot. And also that was another excuse. That was in my head, I was like, oh, I should probably just leave then. I should probably just not go. I should not do it then. So stupid. But that was coming up. But yeah, the guy's telling me, hey, this open mic is no one really comes to it. It honestly sucks. No one's going to laugh. This is part of the process. And so I'm like, oh, part of the process. Okay. Maybe I don't want to be a part of this process. I should probably just go. I convinced myself not to go. But he was right. There was a bartender / barista as a coffee shop, but they served alcohol. So I don't know what you would call that. And then there were a couple people there were 3 people there total. And they all left by the time I went up. And so everyone else there was a comedian. So it was over 20 comedians and 0 people that came there to watch this. The other people worked there. And none of the comedians were laughing. I think all the people that went up before me, which was 15 comedians, probably 3 laughs from the comics the entire time, from the ones watching. So that was actually comforting because I was like, okay, if it doesn't go well for me, that's it could be any level of good or bad, and I'm going to get the same response as these people, which is no laughs. That's fine. Luckily the bartender barista lady would laugh occasionally. And so that helped things a little bit. But yeah, that was quite the experience. Yeah, I plan to continue doing them. I'm not looking for anything out of it other than I want it to be a fun hobby I do. I think it would be awesome to just have that as something I can, something I can do, something I'm capable of. I can go up in front of a crowd of people and tell jokes. That would be a cool hobby. But again, I don't really have illusions. I feel like there are other areas in my life that I feel more called towards in terms of doing something bigger and having bigger dreams. This is just, again, one thing I would like to be on the side. So that's exciting. That is really exciting. And if anyone out there is thinking about it, this is going to sound dumb because I feel like anyone who does something hard is immediately like, oh yeah, you should do it. But you should do it. There's a lot you get from just going up and trying something like that and seeing what, and it's going to be scary. It's going to be terrifying. But once you do it, you're almost guaranteed to be satisfied with yourself just for the fact that you did it. So if you think about it that way, in terms of, okay, this might go terribly, but I am fairly certain that I'm going to be pleased with myself. I'm going to be happy that I actually did this thing that I did not want to do. So maybe I should do it. That's a good motivation. Also tell someone that you're going to do it. That's another thing. Because I was thinking about doing it on this past Wednesday and I hadn't told anyone. And this was on Monday. I hadn't told anyone yet. And then I went for a run with my friend Peter, and right at the end, I was like, I should probably tell him just to kind of lock myself into this. And so I mentioned it at the end, and then I was like, okay, now I know I'm going to do it just because someone else knows. So that's the other thing is like, if you really want to do it, try to take away all the outs, all of the like little excuses, take those away from yourself. Take away the safety net so that you have to actually do it and then just see what happens. And again, I guarantee it's going to be fine. Whatever happens, you're going to be okay. This is the thing with irrational fears is like, whatever happens, you're going to be okay. And like, I could play through the worst possible situation, which is like, people don't like my jokes. They're silent. They kick me out. That was one. I was like, oh yeah, they're just going to be like, yeah, we don't tell those kind of jokes and like tell me to leave. That was my fear. It's silly, but it's like, even if that happened, okay, I walk out and I'm done. Like, I still went up and did it. I still faced the fear and it just didn't work the way I wanted it to. That's okay. No harm came to me. That's okay. I'm okay still. So that's a nice thing to take away from it. Yeah. Look at what's on the other side of your fears. Is it something good, something bad? Is there something actually bad on the other side? If there's something actually bad, then that's something where you should consider, whether that's a realistic fear to have or whether it's something where you should push the boundary in some way that maybe isn't the way you'd expect. Like if you're at work and you're like, oh, I want to be funnier at work. It's like, okay, that's something where now there's a rational fear there, which is, okay, I could lose my job if I say the wrong thing. And so that's like, okay, something bad could actually come of that. That's something to consider. But a lot of other things like, oh, I'm just scared of talking in front of people in general or trying to make people laugh in general. That's a little more irrational because on the other side of that, there's almost no downside. There is seemingly only upside. And this is in the like realistic, like physical sense. Of course, you could be damaged, you could be psychologically damaged by going up at an open mic and having it go terribly wrong. But again, that's like a mindset thing. If you go in there and you like put your ego up and it gets destroyed, the problem is that you had the big ego or that you put the big ego up for attack. And also you're still probably going to be okay. As long as you're an adult. That's another thing. Like when you are an adult, things are not going to be as traumatic as they could be. Like when you're a little kid and something like bad happens, like someone's mad at you or you get punished, like that actually has an effect on you. That like changes who you are. But as an adult, it takes a lot more because there's more identity and all those things. So just be an adult and go to an open mic. That's going to be it for today. Feel free to subscribe or do whatever on whatever platform you're listening. Try out the Grooves app on App Store, Google Play. You can find it at mygrooves.app. Please give feedback through the app if anything is awesome or sucks or you want to see something different. Give feedback. Review the podcast, a rating. Review Grooves on the App Store, Google Play Store. All that stuff is super appreciated, and it is the best way to support this whole thing. Appreciate you, and take it easy. Bye, everyone.